Hello, folks. I am Alan for today's news. I will be reading and speaking about world news, interesting news, news to keep you entertained, and news to keep you informed. First thing I got for you, I thought was pretty interesting. I recorded off the television. I'm going to play it right now.
It has been confirmed the object that went through the roof of a home in New Jersey is in fact from outer space.
CBS 2's Christine Sloan talked to a scientist about this rare find.
Came through here, hit the floor here because that's completely damaged. It ricocheted up to this part of the ceiling, and then finally coming down and resting just on the floor there.
Scientists say the rock that crashed into this New Jersey family's home is a 2.5-pound stony chondrite meteorite, and that it's as old as the beginning of the solar system.
We suspect that it likely came from the asteroid belt that's between Mars and Jupiter, which it's more or less leftover debris from the formation of our solar system. So if we were to date it, it would probably come in at about 4.5 billion years old. So it's just leftover stuff from when the solar system formed between Mars and Jupiter, and a piece of it made its way to Earth, which is pretty cool.
This geophysicist, part of the team that examined the meteorite at the College of New Jersey. She says there have only been 100 witness sightings of chondrite meteorites falling onto Earth.
Meteorites, they strike Earth, fairly frequently, but finding them is difficult. And so anytime we find one, you get another little piece of evidence to help us build a story about how the solar system formed.
The family also saying the meteorite was hot. Scientists say because it was probably smashing into other objects on its way down. The American Meteor Society also getting reports of flight streaks and loud noises 40 miles away in Union Township. This as the meteorite entered the Earth.
The meteorite is off limits right now because scientists continue to examine it. We're told it's going to go back to the family and they can decide what to do with it. In Union Township, New Jersey, Christine Sloan, CBS 2 News.
That is just beyond comprehension.
I think somebody's trying to send us a signal.
That's flying
from out
saucer.
there.
Somebody up there?
No,
One of those?
I'm telling you.
How about the bounce, though? The thing went up to the ceiling.
Tells you how quickly it was coming down.
Man.
By the way, the meteorite will be eventually named after the nearest postal address, which will likely be Titusville, New Jersey.
Okay, stay tuned.
And I thought that was pretty interesting there. You don't hear about meteorites going to people's houses all the time. And now back to my regular news here. This is from the Insider. Ukraine soldiers have wondered if Russians advancing into certain death in Bakhmut were on drugs. Here are 5 surprising times troops have used performance-enhancing drugs during war.
Ukraine soldiers have wondered if Russians advancing into certain death in Bakhmut were on drugs. Here are 5 surprising times troops have used performance-enhancing drugs during war. No evidence has emerged to show that Russia is giving drugs to soldiers. Ukrainian soldiers have wondered if Russians advancing on Bakhmut may be on drugs. But performance-enhancing drug use has been prevalent among troops from different countries since at least World War I. Ukrainian soldiers recently wondered aloud whether Russians fighting for the country's mercenary Wagner forces in the key city of Bakhmut were on drugs as they advanced to certain death, according to the New York Times. No evidence has emerged that Russia or the Wagner Group is giving their troops drugs. But it wouldn't be a surprise. Performance-enhancing drug use among soldiers has been commonplace throughout history.
Or they could be just nuts.
British stores sold syringes of heroin as gifts to send to troops during World War I. During World War I, British department stores, including the famous Harrods, sold kits that came filled with syringes, needles, cocaine, and heroin, according to the BBC. The kits were marketed as gifts for friends and family members who were serving on the front lines to comfort them as they dealt with the horrors of the war, according to the outlet. Women often bought these kinds of kits and took them to train stations to give to their boyfriends or husbands who were shipping out, according to Voltaface, a London-based advocacy group that promotes policies to reduce the harm caused by drug use. Harrods also offered small packs of morphine and cocaine, complete with syringe and spare needles, according to the advocacy group.
Okay, let's go to the next one here.
The Nazis gave meth to their soldiers during World War II to give them a boost. Nazi Germany touted methamphetamine as a miracle product when the drug first entered the commercial market in the late 1930s. The excitement stood in sharp contrast to the Nazi Party's general stance that drugs were considered a sign of weakness, according to Time. German soldiers who invaded Poland in September 1939 used methamphetamine in the drug's first real military test in the field for the Nazis, according to Time. The drug would go on to play a major role in the Third Reich. As it focused on physical and mental superiority, Nazi troops used it for hyper-alertness and vigilance, the outlet reported. Blitzkrieg, the form of Nazi warfare that consisted of fast, unsuspected, mechanized attacks on enemy troops, was guided by methamphetamine, historian Peter Steinkamp told the outlet. While Nazis were the most enthusiastic adopters of the drug, Allied forces also used meth during World War II to increase confidence and aggression and elevate morale, according to a report in the Journal of Interdisciplinary History.
Yeah, I didn't think meth went that far back in history. See what this one says.
Russia gave its frontline soldiers rations of vodka during World War II. During World War II, meanwhile, the Russians relied on alcohol to get through the war. Whether or not it enhanced their performance, however, is another matter. In World War II, Russia's Ministry of Defense gave each soldier on the front lines a 100-gram ration of vodka, which was called the Commissar's ration. The policy was widely criticized in the country, especially by doctors. In a report published by the Russian Studies Department at Macalester College, vodka has been a featured player in the Russian military since the late 1800s. Many historians attribute Russia's defeat in the Russo-Japanese War of 1904 to 1905 to vodka use among the Russian troops, which decreased morale and impaired their abilities so much that the army began giving out beer and wine instead by the end of the war, according to the report.
Okay, let's see what we got here. Last one.
The U.S. military gave troops speed and painkillers during the Vietnam War. The U.S. military distributed painkillers and pep pills to soldiers heading into long-range reconnaissance missions and ambushes, according to The Atlantic. The military gave 20 milligrams of dextroamphetamine to soldiers for 48 hours of combat readiness, but the men rarely followed the recommended doses, according to the report. A 1971 report by the House Select Committee on Crime found that troops had used 225 million tablets of stimulants from 1966 to 1969. The stimulants used by U.S. troops during the Vietnam War were nearly twice as strong as the amphetamines used during World War II, according to The Atlantic. Drug use in general among American troops skyrocketed during the Vietnam War. Soldiers using marijuana, psychedelics such as LSD and mushrooms, and even hard drugs like cocaine and heroin, according to History.com. A 1971 Department of Defense report indicated that 51% of U.S. armed forces had smoked marijuana, according to the outlet.
Yeah, I didn't start using drugs until I got into the military. Anyway, let me go to the next one here. Thought that was interesting. It's from Business Insider. The government's main budget experts confirmed that the U.S. could risk economic catastrophe as soon as early June.
The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office projected the U.S. could run out of money in early June. That projection tracks with Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen's warnings on when the U.S. could default. Congress can step in and prevent the crisis, but so far Republicans and Democrats are still sparring. The U.S. just got another sign of an imminent economic catastrophe if Congress fails to raise the debt ceiling this month. On Friday, the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, CBO, projected that there is significant risk the U.S. could default on its debt in the first 2 weeks of June if the debt ceiling is not raised by then. If the debt limit is not raised or suspended before the Treasury's cash and extraordinary measures are exhausted, the government will have to delay making payments for some activities, default on its debt obligations, or both, the CBO wrote in its projection.
Okay, and there's more to read on that if you want to read the rest of it. And maybe that's when everybody can go and and sue the government if they don't get their Social Security. Soldiers stop fighting if they're not getting paid. Leave it to dumb butt. Let's go next one. This from the Daily Beast. How Putin walked right into an electronic sex tape scandal.
Istanbul, Turkey's opposition is accusing Russia of trying to influence Sunday's elections in order to keep President Recep Tayyip Erdogan in office, as several polls suggest he is on the verge of losing power. Although Erdogan's ties to Russian President Vladimir Putin have long raised alarm, a sex tape scandal is shaping up to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Muharrem Ince, a presidential candidate who led the main opposition party in 2018, left the race this week over rumors of an alleged sex tape spread online. The candidate claimed that the tape was a deepfake and said he had gone through a false character assassination. Soon after, the presidential candidate for Turkey's opposition, Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, accused Russia of spreading deepfakes and conspiracies, including tapes that were exposed in this country yesterday. "Get your hands off the Turkish state," he wrote in a tweet on Thursday. Kılıçdaroğlu told Reuters that he had concrete evidence to back up his statement, but the Kremlin has denied his accusation. In an interview with the Daily Beast, a parliament member of the second largest party in Kılıçdaroğlu's coalition said that, while he didn't know the alleged evidence that was behind the statement, it was clear that Moscow was assisting Erdogan in his bid to stay in power.
Okay, and there's more to read on that if you want to read the rest of it. I'm going to the next one now. This from Market Watch. How $4 trillion in treasuries parked at banks could become a ticking time bomb if the debt ceiling fight triggers a U.S. default.
Market Extra. Banks loaded up with U.S. government debt could face a reckoning if Washington's debt ceiling impasse spills over into a full-blown default. Their footprint in the roughly $24 trillion Treasury market has increased fourfold in the past 2 decades to about $4 trillion as of March. Banks have become key buyers of Treasuries as a way to earn income on risk-free assets. Since the U.S. isn't viewed as likely to default on its debts, banks don't need to keep extra capital against them to offset potential losses. Regulators deem the debt a 0% risk weight. Lately, however, it's been hard to dismiss Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen's warning of financial chaos that could be unleashed without a deal in Washington, D.C., to increase the federal government's $31.4 trillion borrowing limit. Yellen said on May 1 that the U.S. risks running short on funds as soon as June 1. The debt ceiling standoff comes at a precarious time for banks, specifically regional lenders struggling to retain deposits, while looking to avoid forced sales of assets that have fallen in value as the Fed began to rapidly raise rates last year. Market jitters around the impasse can be seen in short-term treasuries. Democratic Representative Sean Casten of Illinois on Wednesday pointed to the spread of more than 300 basis points between treasuries coming due before and after the potential default date. His remarks came during a hearing on the federal response to recent bank failures. The yield on 1-month treasuries was around 5.53% on Friday, while the 3-month rate was pegged at 5.17%, according to FactSet. While banks have been encouraged by regulators to hold short-term treasuries for liquidity needs, any holder forced to sell these securities into a volatile market could face painful losses.
Okay, and there's more to read on that if you want to read the rest of it. The links will be in my description box, like always. Let's go to the next one here. This from The Guardian. Title 42 immigration restrictions have ended, but Biden's new policy is tougher.
As the Title 42 pandemic-era rule ended at midnight on Thursday, Alejandro Mayorkas, the Secretary of Homeland Security and a former Cuban refugee, issued a stern warning to would-be migrants, saying, "People who arrive at the border without using a lawful pathway will be presumed ineligible for asylum." In many ways, Mayorkas' statement directly contradicted some of the promises Joe Biden made as a candidate during the 2020 presidential election. Then Biden had pledged to dismantle Donald Trump's hardline immigration agenda, calling the numerous restrictions his rival enacted to shut off access to the U.S. asylum system cruel. Related, "This was my last try, dismay at U.S. border as Title 42 ends and little changes." After taking office, Biden reversed some of Trump's border policies, including a program that required asylum seekers to wait in dangerous Mexican border cities while their cases were reviewed by U.S. courts. But for more than a year, Biden kept, and defended in court, Trump's most sweeping border restriction, the Title 42 emergency order that allowed agents to cite the COVID-19 pandemic to quickly expel migrants without hearing asylum claims. The Biden administration in 2022 tried to phase out Title 42, but was blocked by a lawsuit filed by Republicans in 19 states. By the time it ended, due to the expiration of the COVID-19 public health emergency, Title 42 had been used to expel migrants over 2.7 times from the U.S. southern border, according to government statistics. But Biden is now replacing Title 42 with an arguably tougher, more restrictive policy. His administration on Friday started implementing a rule barring migrants from asylum if they don't request refugee status in another country before entering the U.S. Advocates suggested that such a restriction mimics two Trump-era policies known as the entry and transit asylum bans, which were consequently blocked by courts. As a result, the new restrictive border control has already been challenged by the American Civil Liberties Union and other immigrants' rights groups in federal court. This new rule is no less illegal or harmful. It will effectively eliminate asylum for nearly all non-Mexican asylum seekers who enter between designated ports of entry, and even for those who present at a port without first securing an appointment, the complaint says. Thousands of migrants anticipating the end of Title 42 crossed into the U.S. in record numbers this week along the 2,000-mile border with Mexico. They gathered on the banks of the Rio Grande and gates near the border wall, waiting for their turn to be let into U.S. soil.
I got music on it. That'll be against my YouTube copyright thing. So let me go to the next one. This is from 1945. Shot down. Video shows the Russian Air Force was just crushed in Ukraine.
Dark day for the Russian Air Force, for aircraft lost in single day, according to reports and video on social media. Though Saturday may not go down as a day that will live in infamy, it was still the worst day for the Russian Air Force in decades. The Kremlin lost two Mi-8 transport helicopters, a Su-34 fighter/bomber, and a Su-35 air superiority fighter. All three were shot down over the Bryansk region of western Russia by air-to-air or surface-to-air missiles that were launched from within Ukraine. The pilots and aircrew of all four aircraft were reportedly killed. Russian propagandists on social media quickly responded to the news, posting on Telegram, to cut off rumors. Two Mi-8s, one Su-35 and one Su-34 were shot down. We will avenge everyone, we will kill everyone. The TASS news agency had also acknowledged that the Su-34 warplane crashed in the Bryansk region bordering Ukraine, per Reuters. The downing of an Su-34, NATO reporting name, Fullback, a Soviet-origin twin-engine, twin-seat, all-weather supersonic medium-range fighter-bomber/strike aircraft, came just weeks after another one of the aircraft was involved in a friendly fire incident.
And there's more to read on that if you want to read the rest of it. I'm going to go to my next one here. This is from CNBC. McDonald's new battle over the way the Big Mac and fries are packaged.
McDonald's Big Mac made the move to paper packaging in 1990, and the fast food chain is making progress on more recent goals to have 100% of products in recycled or renewable materials by 2025. But shareholder activists focused on environmental and climate issues want McDonald's to go further and focus on reusables, now mandated in some countries including France. The restaurant giant says it will study the economics of reusables, but isn't convinced it makes more sense than current sustainability practices. In 1990, McDonald's ditched the styrofoam home for the Big Mac, and its signature burger has been served ever since in paper wrap. Reusable packaging may be next. McDonald's is making some progress on a goal it set in 2018 to use recycled or renewable packaging in 100% of its restaurants by the end of 2025, but activist shareholders are moving on to the next big target, pressing the fast food giant for more focus on reusables. While there were hundreds of environmental and climate measures introduced by shareholders this spring for annual meetings, one that got dropped in March was at McDonald's, which reached a deal with shareholder advocacy nonprofit As You Sow to withdraw a proposal in exchange for the company agreeing to produce a report on the implications of switching to reusable packaging. The battle between McDonald's and environmentally minded shareholders goes a long way back, starting in the 1980s when multiple grassroots organizations and broader public awareness about the lightweight plastic material known as polystyrene led to the change in the packaging of the Big Mac and other sandwiches. But it wasn't until 2018 that McDonald's completely eliminated styrofoam across all of its global markets. McDonald's biggest reusable packaging changes are outside U.S. McDonald's has made several big packaging changes in recent years, mostly coming from outside the U.S. and following governmental action. The European Commission banned certain single-use packaging, including straws, plates and cutlery, and required all packaging in these categories be designed for reuse as of July 2021, the first time the EU targeted reuse specifically. And at the end of last year, McDonald's France launched a reusable plastic food container in its signature red color, though not without initiating a new controversy over the decision to not use all glass or metal. There are many challenges that come with reusable packaging, and McDonald's has looked to highlight that as it agrees to conduct more research on the reusables economy. Last month, McDonald's released a reported commission from consulting firm Kearney, with the headline, "No Silver Bullet," detailing several reasons why reusables may be too expensive to be a sole solution. The report suggests the balancing act the fast food giant is trying to pull off, responding to changes in European regulation when required, but also arguing that it is a mistake to see reusables as the only model for responsible packaging in the future. High upfront costs, required kitchen and infrastructure changes, whether on or off-site dishwashing capacities, and rises in energy and water use all pose challenges to the operations of reusable packaging, the report said. The report quoted the European Paper Packaging Alliance, which estimated that water consumption for a reusable system with 100 reuses would cost 267% higher than a paper single-usage model.
Okay, now, I watched a news program about 2 days ago, and this one McDonald's in France, they have to wash the dishes, after you get done with them. And I don't trust these straws being washed through a dishwasher or anything like that. They'll have germs inside of them. And what about their drive-through? Are they going to charge you more because you're going to buy dishes from them now through the drive-through? And there's more to read on this if you want to read more about it. I didn't read the whole article. I just thought it was interesting. And what about these stores that sells straws and stuff? Are they going to stop selling straws, paper napkins? This world has become a mess. I'll be glad when I die. Let me go to the next one. This from the Coup Down. Group of 16 people, young people, sue state for allegedly violating its own constitution. The state may have to change its policy.
A group of 16 young Montanans looking to protect their home's natural beauty have joined with an environmental legal organization to sue the state for failing to provide a clean and healthful environment, as outlined in the state constitution. The group filed a complaint in 2020, claiming that by supporting the use of dirty energy, like coal, oil, and gas, the state is violating its own constitution. These forms of unrenewable energy are contributing to the overheating of our planet, which is worsening extreme weather events like wildfires, torrential rains, and severe droughts, putting our communities in jeopardy. Legal experts say that this trial, set to begin on June 12 in the state capitol, is one of the first constitutional climate cases. This is the first that will get into the merits of climate change and what needs to be done, and how the state may have to change its policies, Michael Gerard, director of the Sabin Center for Climate Change Law at Columbia Law School, told the New York Times. The age of the group of plaintiffs covers a 16-year span. The oldest, concerned about her family's 7,000-acre ranch, where extreme weather has made it difficult to supply water to their land, was 18 years old when they filed the case. The youngest plaintiff was just 2. The boy suffers respiratory issues, and his health is further threatened by recent wildfires and smoke. A lot of this is just rooted in how many Montanans, including us, live life on an everyday basis, and how ingrained the wildlife and the land and nature is in who we are, said 18-year-old plaintiff Lander Bussey, who grew up hunting and fishing just outside Glacier National Park.
Okay, and there's more to read on that if you want to read the rest of it. I don't know about the young kids. If we turn all electric, they won't be able to afford electric cars. $60,000, $70,000. Let's go to the next one here. This from Daily Dot. I thought this one was interesting. The new Circle K automatic scanner by the be tripping. Somebody said, Circle K automatic scanner charges customer trying to buy a hot dog and a drink, $45.
Automatic checkout solutions have become a hot topic on social media after videos of customers ordering fast food from AI drive-thrus went viral. TikTokers have had mixed reactions to the new tech. Some feel the systems work too slowly, while others say they prefer speaking to a robot to place their order. Now, another voice joins the conversation. TikTok user Jason Blackwell, at Merspeed 2.0, posted a video showing the automatic checkout lanes Circle K recently introduced to some of its stores, and why he isn't a fan of them. In the now viral video, Blackwell shows that the scanning station used to determine which items a customer is purchasing failed to properly identify the products he was trying to buy. The clip begins with a view of the checkout screen, showing that the scanner rang Blackwell up for a $14.99 bottle of Hennessy, a 99-cent Polar Pop fountain beverage, and 2.5 gallons of diesel exhaust fluid for $25.99. Blackwell then pans his camera to the checkout station, which shows that he was only trying to buy a hot dog and a soda. The new Circle K automatic scanner be tripping, thinking I'm getting deaf for a diesel and some Hennessy, Blackwell says in the clip. I ain't gonna spend $45 for a hot dog and a drink. The TikToker tagged Circle K's account in the video's caption, writing, "At Circlex stores you are killing me LOL."
Okay, let's see. I'm gonna play this video here for you.
The new Circle K automatic scanner be tripping, thinking I'm getting deaf for a diesel and some Hennessy. I ain't gonna spend $45 for a hot dog and a drink.
And there's more to read on that if you want to read the rest of it. See, that's AI for you, you know. It's going to get worse. Always, you do self-checkout, always check the price when you scan. That's what I do. Anyway, here's from 1945. The Hunter Biden money scandal just exploded.
House Republicans released a 36-page report detailing the Biden family's network of LLCs and their connection with a company linked with Chinese intelligence. The report released by the House Oversight and Accountability Committee took aim at President Joe Biden's repeated denials of having had anything to do with Chinese money. White House visitor logs show that Hunter Biden's business associates visited the White House at least 80 times while Joe Biden was vice president. These meetings included ones with the then vice president himself. President Biden has claimed since the 2020 election that his family has not received money from China. That was a lie, and he continues to lie to the American people now. The Bidens have received millions of dollars from China. It is inconceivable that the president did not know about it. The White House refuses to correct the president's statements showing that the president is using the federal government to run interference for his family's and own role in these schemes, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, Republican Kentucky, said in his press conference Wednesday. It notes that Hunter Biden and his associates created an intricate network of 15 shell companies after Joe Biden became vice president in 2009. These included Rosemont Seneca Partners, LLC, Rosemont Seneca Principal Investments, LLC, Rosemont Realty, LLC, Rosemont Seneca Bohai, LLC, OASCO, LLC, and CFC Infrastructure Investment, US, LLC, among others. The report covers monies received from Romanian oligarch Gabriel Popovici, who is under investigation in Romania for corruption, and especially those received from China. The committee's investigation focused on LLC's directly involved in dealings with CFC Energy, a company suspected of being a front for Chinese military intelligence. These included the Hunter Biden-owned OASCO, PC, Hudson West 3, LLC, Robinson Walker, LLC, and Rosemont Seneca Bohai, LLC. These companies received millions in wire transfers from CFC, bank records show. CFC Energy's former CEO Yi Jianming previously served as Secretary General of the China Association for International Friendly Contacts, CAIF, which the U.S.-China Security Review Commission says performs dual roles of intelligence collection and conducting propaganda and perception management campaigns. The report notes that Yi managed a business empire worth $44 billion and was a key focal point of the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative. Former Serbian politician and UN figure Vuk Jeremić, who the Bidens worked with in their deals, described Yi as someone with top-level connections in his country. Those contacts included Chinese President Xi Jinping himself. Yi used CFC to bribe foreign officials. Bribery is a key tool in a spy's tool chest used to manipulate an asset into doing what the spy wants. Yi was detained in 2018 under orders from Xi. Hunter Biden business partner Patrick Ho was convicted in U.S. federal court of offering a $500,000 bribe to Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni. He was an emissary of Yes in the U.S. Hunter Biden referred to Ho as the F***G spy chief of China. Ho was under FISA warrant surveillance at the time of his 2018 arrest. Dongwen Dong, another Yi associate, ran several companies that the committee said followed the pattern used by Chinese entities to launder money in the U.S. These included Hudson West 3, a venture in which Dongwen and Hunter Biden were 50-50 partners, Hudson West V, and CFC Infrastructure Investment, U.S. Bank records show that Yi wired $130 million to entities controlled by Dongwen between June and August 2017. Hudson West 3 received $4 million between August 2017 and October 2018. Companies controlled by James Biden received $75,000. Former U.S. intelligence officers, Hunter knew he was working with Chinese spies. My wheelhouse is counterintelligence protecting American interests and persons against foreign espionage efforts. Here the report's findings, which focus on communist China, can confidently be termed explosive. John Schindler, a former National Security Agency intelligence analyst and counterintelligence officer, wrote in the Washington Examiner. Hunter Biden knew exactly what sort of people his friends from Beijing were. During the critical 2017-18 time frame, it was hardly a secret that CFC was closely allied with the Chinese Communist Party, its military, and its intelligence services. Schindler continued, "We know that Biden Incorporated got rich off a Chinese intelligence front, in exchange for what, we cannot say. We also know that Joe Biden and Hunter Biden lied about taking Chinese money and their family's relationship with CFC. The public deserves the full story of what may be one of the biggest scandals in presidential history." Former CIA station chief Sam Faddis has similar concerns about Hunter Biden and the president, suggesting they were compromised by Chinese intelligence. Schindler is dead on. This was a Chinese intelligence operation. It fits precisely with the patterns seen all over the world and is well known to our intelligence and counterintelligence agencies. This is not about hookers, blow, or corruption. It is about espionage, Faddis told 1945.
So, told you the Bidens are they're no worse than the cartels, except they don't be killing people. The only difference between the Biden and the cartels. And it says here that Hunter knew he was working with Chinese spies, and Hunter's always in contact with his father. I don't know why Biden got voted in anyway. I know it's the Democrats that voted him in. They don't do no history search on Biden. They just voted for him because he was Democrat. Oh, yeah. People are dumb. People in this world are really dumb. Okay, this is my last one here. The new voice. Air Force reveals that Patriot system that took down Russian Kinzhal was operating autonomously. I can't already say that word.
In this case, Patriot was operating in autonomous mode, he explained. Read also. Targets such as the Kinzhal, as ballistic missiles, are destroyed automatically. The automatic button is activated and everything that flies, it will destroy. The radar detects it, and the missile flies to meet the falling Kinzhal. But everything works under human control. Inat added that the Ukrainian military has no information on where the missile could have been targeted at, as it was shot down at a high altitude. According to Inat, earlier theories floated by media outlets such as CNN, that the Kinzhal was targeting the Patriot system itself using the Patriot's own radar or EM emissions, doesn't seem correct. It flies according to predefined coordinates, he said. It is programmed on the ground, even before departure. How can it take off and search for radar at high speed? I think it's slightly wrong. On May 6, Ukrainian Air Force Commander Mykola Olszczuk confirmed that Ukraine had shot down a Kinzhal missile for the first time near Kiev in the early hours of May 4.
Okay, and that's all I got on that one there. Well, don't forget to like, subscribe, at least come back once in a while. I hope I got some news for you, or at least some information you can use. And until next time, thanks for watching. Later.